Hey guys, it's Mrs. Conway again. First, I just wanted to share with you all a painting I have hanging up in my hallway. I did this my sophomore year of college, and I thought it'd be kind of cool for you to see some of my art since I'm at home. So there it is. Let's see if I can move my head. There we go. See me in the corner? Anyways, okay, I'm walking into my office now, and what I wanted to do is make a webcast on our first lesson that we're going to be doing this 9 weeks. We're going to be starting off with a drawing lesson. Basically, if you have any sort of pencil, like a regular pencil, and any kind of paper, I'm flexible right now. It could be a piece of copy paper. If you have a sketchbook, you could do it in that. Even a sheet of notebook paper would be fine. And that's what you'll need to complete this assignment. And so what I wanted to do with this webcast is I wanted to share with you your resources and a little bit about the project, a little bit of an overview. Then I'm also going to be planning every single day to add in some videos of me creating the project so that you can follow all the different steps as we build this piece together this week, okay? And look, this is our first time doing art this way. It's the first time I've ever taught art online. So I'm very flexible and there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so on your It's Learning page, and as you can see, I'm viewing as a student here, under resources, I've started adding in our resources underneath a folder called School Closure. I have the how to log into Flipgrid that we did today on Monday. And then of course our codes and everything for the Flipgrid and a little bit about the project for that first day. And then here I have our first drawing project / exercise on our school closure. I have added in some drawing vocabulary that I'm about to reference here as I teach this lesson, and the Google Slides on the actual assignment. So you can view these when you need to at any point. Of course, this drawing vocabulary slideshow, which I'm going to go over right now, has a lot of other information than what we're actually going to be using in our assignment, but you can look at some extra things if you're just one of those overachievers that want to check other things out. But these are different tools and terms that I'm going to be using this 9 weeks anyway, so it's good to kind of familiarize yourself with them. So these are some basic elements to help you become better at drawing. We're starting super simple. I'm going to skip over a few things. This first assignment that we're dealing with is going to be regarding line, which lines vary in length, width, direction, and color. Degree of curve, they can be two-dimensional or implied, and 3D art, which we're not getting into 3D art yet. We're just sticking with drawing. Okay. I want to specify what the difference between a contour line is and when you have shading. Contour lines are the outer lines of an object. As you can see here on the left side it's an example of an artichoke. On the left side, you have just the contour drawing of it. And then here it is with shading. And so by the end of this week, and you'll see the project in just a moment, you will have a better understanding of lines, the difference between contour and shading. And then we're also going to talk about shapes as well, okay? If you are not good at drawing, that's okay. You can complete this assignment using super simple basic shapes if you want to. For all I care, you can print something and trace it for this assignment. Don't worry about being good or bad at drawing. That's not what this is all about. This is just to get us practicing some of these basic elements of line, shape. Okay, we're going to skip the videos, and value. Which value is the relative lightness or darkness of something. If you look at this here, it looks super complicated, but really what this is called a value scale. Okay, I'm circling it with my mouse right now. It goes from dark to light, and within each square, it gets a slightly different shade or value, okay, as it gets lighter and lighter, or depending on which direction you're going, darker and darker. And what you're basically doing when you shade, you put more pressure with your pencil to get something darker. And as you get lighter, you use less pressure. Don't worry, when I create the videos on this assignment and I put a couple of steps every day for you to do, I'll be showing you these techniques and you'll actually see me drawing things out, and I'll be showing you just like I would in our classroom. Okay, so if you've never done this before, please don't be worried about it. So when you apply pressure or get lighter, you apply that to objects, okay? And you can see what they've done is they've taken this basic shape, a circle. They've observed where their light source is coming from, so it's on the top right, which means their darkest value is going to be on the bottom left. And what they've done is they've applied this value scale within that object. Now, of course, there's some other tips and tricks that I'll show you whenever we actually get to our assignment, and you can watch me do this, okay? But the general idea is that you go from darker to lighter using pressure with your pencil. It really is as simple as that. So just to review, I'm going to X out of here, but we are going to be focusing our vocabulary on this first week: line, contour line, shape, and value. And you're welcome to watch these videos on your own in between some free time that you might have, okay? That there's some great useful tips on how we apply these elements in all kinds of art, not just in drawing. So on to the actual assignment. Again, under your It's Learning page, I actually have the assignment here. It's called a shattered drawing, okay, or a shading exercise. And I'm going to show you the Google Slides that I created for this right here. Okay, so our assignment is going to be a shattered drawing. We're going to be working on this for the rest of this week. Though this isn't the only thing we're going to be doing, I will be uploading once again some tutorials step by step of me actually doing the assignment for you to follow along with, okay? Every single day I'll do probably 1 to 2 steps a day so as to not overwhelm you, okay? And in addition to that, there's going to be a few other things later this week. Like, for example, sometime maybe Thursday or Friday, I want to have you guys take a survey on what sort of art supplies you have at home, just so I know where I can proceed from here if we happen to be doing online learning extending past 1 week. So your shattered drawing. First, just to review, we're doing line, contour line, shape, and of course, value is a big part of this assignment. I remind you that value is the element of art that measures the relative lightness and darkness of an object. You can see that here in this example of this drawing of a cup. You have something that is a super simple drawing where there's high contrast. Then they start to add some of those medium values. And then as they add some highlights and some darker values and medium values, you can see how your artwork gets more realistic. Of course, if you're just starting out, I expect that a lot of you will be at this level, okay? But as you continue the practice this week, you'll start to see your artwork turn into this, I promise. It just takes some practice, just like learning anything new. So don't let this overwhelm you, okay? These are 2 very advanced drawings of this assignment, but I like to show variety to my 6th and 7th and 8th graders that have never had me in art class before. And of course, as a reminder to all of my students who I have had before, I show quite a lot of variety of artwork because we're all at different levels. Some of us are super beginners, some of us are kind of intermediate or in the middle, and some of us are really advanced. And so I want you all to have a goal of just improving and growing. That's all I ever ask. So ultimately, our assignment by the end of the week is going to look like this, but once again, I'm going to be creating videos on how to do each step by step so you can follow along with me. So Our shattered drawings is basically a drawing that we create, and we draw lines through our pieces of art, and we do a bunch of different types of value scales to kind of create this illusion that our artwork looks kind of shattered, if you will. Okay? So the first step is you can use technology to research ideas. You could even search online shattered drawing art exercise. This is actually a really common art assignment to kind of get you practicing creating value scales and doing lines and basic shapes. So I imagine there's a lot of images out there to give you ideas. You can do something as simple as a bunch of circles and triangles and rectangles, some pretty basic shapes. You can even draw your hand and trace that as your basic shape. Okay? If you're really good at drawing, I suggest finding something that you love to draw as your shape, or if you love something, do that. You know, if you love football, draw your favorite logo for your favorite sports team or just a basic football. If you love music, do a musical note. Um, you could print something, just make sure it's quite large, and you could even trace that onto a sheet of copy paper. But just remember, you're only doing the basic outline as you are creating your drawing. So here is a shark, and it's not shaded or anything is happening, okay? They just drew out the very basic lines of the shark and very minimal detail. Next, you can shatter your drawing by using a ruler. And if you don't have a ruler at your house, maybe the straight edge of a book, and drawing lines through your whole drawing. You can even draw curved lines or a big wave. That could work as well. Once again, I'm going to be creating videos on how to do these steps. So you will see steps 1 and 2, me completing this part of the exercise. I'll be doing all the steps along with you. So if this webcast doesn't help you very much, then please make sure you're watching the videos that I create showing you how to complete this assignment this week, just like I would in class. Okay? Then the next step, and I will be showing you how to create value scales, very smooth value scales, just like this. I love this drawing. Again, this of course is more advanced, whereas this might be a little bit more medium, okay? But anywho, I will be showing you how to create value scales. And what you're going to be doing is within each of the lines and sections, every time you get to a new section in your artwork that you created, you're going to be doing a value scale within that. Okay, so you can kind of see here, they had a line and then they stopped right here at the edge of the face. So they went from dark to light and then they stopped right at that line. Then they had another kind of line going straight through the face. So this was like a little small teeny tiny section. So because it was light here, they started dark again and went from dark to light. Then you can see here they have a curve, and then they did the same thing going from dark to light, and they just kept repeating this. And every time they got to another section, they would start the value scale over and over again. So if you're not good at shading, you can see all the areas you're going to have to shade for this assignment. This is really, really good practice for this technique, and you're going to be really good at this by the end of the week, I promise you. Okay? And so you're going to continue to do this until ultimately you'll get results that kind of look like this. And look, you can see right here, this example here, they only did basic shapes. They just did circles that they repeated over and over. Some of their circles overlapped. They have different size circles. Then they did a whole bunch of lines going through all of their circles. And then within that, they did their value scales and making sure that every time they got to a new section, they went from dark to light so that it was in the opposite of that previous section. Here is a beautiful music note. As you can see, they drew that out first, did all of their lines. Again, your lines are all going to look different because some of you might choose to do all curved lines. Some of you might choose to do all straight lines. Some of you might choose to do a combination of lines. So everybody's is going to look slightly different. And whenever I do my videos on how to complete this assignment, I'm actually going to show you some of your some students' previous work, so that maybe that might help spark some ideas as well. But you can see here, they did a beautiful music note, and they have different value scales within each of the lines and sections. Up here is a beautiful fish. It kind of reminds me of a clownfish. I actually think that's what it is. And of course, you see they mostly did curved lines going through their object. And then they did the value scales within that. Of course, this would be for some of my more advanced artists. It's almost hard to make out because, again, these are shattered drawings. So we're creating an optical illusion. And really, artists in a lot of ways are like magicians. We create illusions. We make people see what they want to see on the paper. And so you can see here, this is a portrait of a man with a hand over his face. Okay, what I especially love about this piece here on the right for my advanced artists is that this expresses a sense of mood. Almost this drawing makes me feel emotional when I'm looking at it, looking at a man's hand over his face. So that's something that we'll get into much later this quarter, but for my advanced artists, that's something that you want to think about maybe. So you can see here, they drew all their lines, mostly straight lines going through their image, and then they started creating the value scales. And you can see here, they went from dark to light. It ended on light here, so they started again going from dark to light. So some of these artists, their lines, they have a lot of them kind of going in and out and all over the place, and then some have less lines, you know. I would say you probably want to have at least 10 to 12 lines going through your artwork just to at least make it look shattered. But of course, you can have a lot more. Okay, so stay tuned because following this, I'll have some videos every day that I'll post step by step on how to get started. I don't want to overwhelm you, so I'm going to only post steps 1 and 2, maybe up to 1 or 2 steps every day this week. So you can maybe only do 1 or 2 steps, as I know you probably have a lot of other work. Of course, if you want to go ahead and look at these examples, you can log into your It's Learning, and I have all of these Google Slides here, and so you can continue to work on it if you're in your free time, if you're just one of those people who love doing art. Okay.